All right, check this out. If you've been following me for a while, you know I deal with lawns also in my daily adventures. And one of the things that I'm big on is getting your lawn off that crack. And that would be synthetic fertilizers for all who don't know. As you can see here, you can have a perfectly green lawn without the use of synthetic fertilizer. And maintaining a organic program is far easier than synthetics, 1,000 times easier. One of the things I tell you to do is to compost or top dress your lawn. Look, there's big money in this fertilizer game. And let me tell you something, there's more than one way to skin a cat. And one of the ways to fertilize a lawn is to feed the grass directly. That means that the grass directly takes whatever it is fertilizer you put out to it and absorbs through the leaves or through the roots, and it feeds off of it. And that direct way of feeding is by synthetic fertilizers. And the other type of way of feeding grass is through the dirt or the soil. You feed in the soil so the soil can feed the grass. The negative thing about feeding the soil with synthetic fertilizers is that it's a lot of work and it's causing more problems than what you would actually think. Not only is it causing problems in your lawn, it's causing problems in society as a whole. Remember when I told you that there's a direct way of feeding the grass, and that direct way is through synthetic fertilizer. The grass takes up the nutrient because it can get to it really, really fast. The negative side of that is the grass can only take so much. So a lot of the nitrogen that it didn't get to uptake, it either runs off into the streams, causing the algae bloom into the waterways, or it evaporates up into the sky. The next issue with synthetic fertilizer is that it kills microbes in the soil. The soil is depleted of all the microbes. Microbe is actually what the grass uses to feed off the soil. And this is where the organic way of feeding the soil or the grass comes into play. It actually feeds the microbes in the lawn in which the grass uses to feed itself. And the one drawback about this is that it takes a long time for this to take effect. But that's not a big problem because all you have to do is make sure that you keep this in the soil going at all times, so you're not really waiting on it to be taking effect, because it's continuously taking effect over time, continuously. One of the ways to apply this is to take this compost and throw it off into a compost spreader and spread it out. This will eliminate your need to add any type of fertilizer, any other type of fertilizer like synthetic fertilizer, because that's all you would need is to throw this. If you top dress your lawn with compost, especially composted manure, there's no need to add any synthetic fertilizers. But it takes a lot of this. It's going to take a lot of going back and forth. Now, for example, once I get that thing filled up and start spreading across my lawn, I will have to take this and spread it all across my lawn, all the way down to this pole right here, which is a considerable distance. Now, I could just fertilize just the immediate front of the lawn, but you know, I want the entire property to look good. So that is a lot of spreading. So one of the problems with adding composted or top dressing is people say that it's too expensive. Well, fertilizer has got way high. I saw a bag over $70 for a bag of fertilizer that covers 10,000 square feet. But I can have this entire truck bed filled up with compost for about 60 bucks at my local gravel and compost pit. But that's still a lot of work, y'all. Can you imagine spreading that much compost along that much of an area? But this is where I can come in and help you. What if I can turn a truckload of this into a 5-gallon pail of liquid compost? And that's what I'm going to show you how to do right now. Look, you can go and buy liquid compost already done, but it's so easy and cheap to make that I might as well go ahead and make it myself. And the first thing you want, 5-gallon bucket of water. Now, when you get this 5-gallon bucket of water, if it's not like rainwater, then you need to take this water, put it in this bucket, and let it sit out for a few days or a couple days. And what you're doing there is letting all the chlorine, because this is tap water, which has a ton of chlorine in it. So you want to let all of that dissipate. Next thing you want to do is get you something like a knapsack, or like this is a paint strainer. So you want to take the paint strainer and you want to add your composted cow manure preferably, and you want to fill it up with about a couple cups of it. So the next thing you want to do is add the compost that's in the knapsack or your paint strainer to the water. And now you're on your way to making a compost tea. But we're gonna go a little further than this. We're gonna add an air pump. So we're gonna take the air pump in here and we're gonna put it in here, and this is gonna keep oxygen in the solution so that the microbes in there can continue to survive and eat. Speaking of eating, we're gonna put some extra goodies up in here to get the microbes jumping, and that will be the molasses. So you take the molasses and pour your little bit of molasses in there. It doesn't take a lot, just a little. I'll put too much, but it's okay. We're gonna add about 1 ounce of humic acid, just a tad. And we're gonna add some liquid kelp to it, about 1 ounce. And the last but not least key ingredient, we're gonna be adding some fish fertilizer to the mix. Only a few ounces. So we're gonna let this sit in the corner of the garage. You want the temperature to be somewhere in the range of, I would say 60 degrees to 70 to 80. 60 to 80 degrees is a good temperature. And what you're doing, you're taking the same microbes in this cow manure that you have to spread out, and you are multiplying it by 10,000. And this is going to allow you to put it off into your sprayer. And in my case, because I'm using it in a large area, I'm doing the liquid compost off inside of this. But you can use something like a backpack sprayer to apply yours. Or if you don't have one of those, this stuff is going to be super concentrated, y'all. Super concentrated. So much so where you don't need no more than 3 ounces per 1,000 square feet, that you can put this off in one of these containers and spread it amongst the lawn. So this is how you cover a huge area. Your lawn is going to love this. This is going to help your soil, as well as help get rid of some of these leaves that you mulched up. The leaves that you got mulched up in the lawn is going to be eaten really quickly. And to note, after we get that composted tea made and we apply it to our lawn, we're going to double hit it again with some humic, some liquid kelp. We're going to use the molasses, and we're going to add a surfactant, because this is going to be a foliar app as well as a soil. And a surfactant is going to allow it to stick to the leaf blades, and you can let it sit there for about 24 hours before you water. This is going to allow the grass to absorb all the nutrients and all the goodies that you just made for it. So we're going to let that sit for about 3 days. And once you make this stuff, it is ready to go down. It needs to go down immediately. And once you get all of it out onto your lawn, go ahead and wash your equipment. So we're gonna let that sit for about 3 days. And once you make this stuff, it is ready to go down. It needs to go down immediately. And once you get all of it out onto your lawn, go ahead and wash your equipment. And I would suggest using something like some ammonia as what you want to clean all your equipment out with. Remember, that is some nasty shit, and you don't want nasty shit hanging around your environment. So you want to get it all cleaned up and set it up for the next. You can make this compost as much as you want and put it out as regular as you want.